Who's that? Is he coming?
From Erie Zone Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers, it's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
I thought you were getting new music.
You know, we are working on new music. I actually have a sample of it that I'm going to play for you after the show, but our producer is fine-tuning it. But I thought it was pretty good.
You mean our man behind the scenes, right?
Our man behind the scenes. Actually, no, it's our man from Colorado.
Oh, yeah. Oh, DJ.
DJ, yeah, he's working on something good. And,
he's down in the silver mine.
You know, I've heard it, and actually, it's good. It's got a little jazzy kick to it, and you know, it's a decent intro, and you know,
he brought me some gold back, and
you know, he's an all-around great guy. What can you say? You know, what can you say? It's a beautiful day out.
He's probably having fun sipping that Coors beer over there. Eating those Rocky Mountain oysters.
Yeah, there you go. That he put together a couple different samples, and so we'll just have to see how it goes and get some clearances. I mean, the music aspect that we have the clearances for.
So how are you good?
I'm doing good.
You know, there was a strange occurrence the other day.
What happened?
There was a strange object reported in the sky to NOAA and the NASA.
Was it? Well, what kind of object was it determined to be?
A large orange orb.
An orange orb. Okay. What is an orange orb? The sun. You're right. It's here today too.
What happened?
You know, yesterday was rainy and kind of cloudy.
Yeah. It
could have been worse though. It could have been, you know, snowing.
One thing about Erie, it's either one way or the other.
Oh yeah.
We have good summers and however you want to look at it with the winters, but.
Yeah. Go ahead, caller.
Hi. You guys happen to go down East Lake Road, where they repaved from Hammermill?
I haven't been down there lately. I was down there about a month ago. Why? Is it good or bad?
The white lines they painted on them guys must have been drunk that painted them. I don't know if it's a bicycle path or what it is. It's so crooked.
Now I'm trying to think if East Lake Road is a state highway or not.
Yeah, I think it is.
Route 5.
Oh, yeah. Got to find out who did that.
Down past East Avenue there. I mean, the lines are so crooked. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a state gig, I think. So that's the PennDOT boys doing that, isn't it?
I down there sometime. You get a good laugh. It's on both sides of the street.
That's always as funny as the time.
At least they're consistent.
The guy was dropping paint over the place.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, that was bad.
Oh, man.
At least they're paving it, though, right?
I guess we don't get anything right on the east side, do we?
My friend was in the car with me. He says, if someone opened up the car door, that'd be the end of them.
And nobody follows the traffic rules over in that area.
The line. What's the project with that viaduct? Are they ever going to start, or is that held up because of that suit or what?
No. It's we just the other day we released some more funds for a construction phase, which is the sidewalks around there that are going to be enhanced and changed when the bridge comes down. But the last word we got from the engineering office and the state, we okayed the contracts and the state did also, is we're waiting for the company that's going to do it. As I understand it, they're up on Interchange Road working on a project there. And the reason why we got such a good price was because they were in town, the equipment was up here, and as soon as they finish that project, they'll start on ours. Plus, they're also relocating some water pipes and et cetera. If you watch alongside the McBride, there's I think the water department, the sewer department was in there relocating pipes. So there's some preliminary work being done, but it's due to come down as soon as they're ready.
I'm just waiting for someone to tie themselves to the thing when the bulldozers come.
Yeah, we have bets on that. I'm not going to tell you on the air what my bet is, but
I know a couple of people. I wish they would.
But I think it's coming down. It just we haven't heard a thing about the lawsuit. To tell you the truth.
Okay, I'll let you go.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, we haven't heard a thing about the lawsuit as far
Yeah,
as.
I mean, I give them credit, but it's like, come on, man. Seriously.
Well, I talked to a lot of people around town, and, the feeling is that its fate was sealed when they built that new road,
Yeah. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, talking about water pipes,
Yeah.
who's the liaison to the water department?
Oh, God, let me think.
I think it's,
I don't have the list on me. I could go take a look real quick.
well, you go ahead and then I'll give some of my complaints with John.
You want me to check it out real quick, or do you want to call me at home?
Check it out, and I'll talk to John here for a bit.
Oh, a little clandestine stuff.
You're out of the loop, Kaz.
There we go.
Come on.
Hey, go take it easy on
Go
him.
on. Go
Well,
get
I'm
it.
going to take it easy on him. I think he's going to agree with me.
Go serve the taxpayers. Come
I
on.
want to hear what he has to say.
Keep the door open.
You can listen to the rerun. Hey, John,
Yeah.
I just see the school district is going to buy 34 buses.
I was going to talk about that. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to talk about it a little bit.
Do it.
You have school directors that are not, or who won't give up 10 hours to learn how to run a budget. And now they're going to say, well, Mr. Polito says he's going to save $2.5 million. But does he ever think about how much he's going to cost? You got to buy 34 buses. You got to get more mechanics. You got to get people past all the priorities to be a bus driver. In the end, we got $14 million. But what is going to happen? How much is it going to cost us?
And don't forget about insurance. The cost, the whole scenario. When I saw that, and I haven't had a chance to give my friend Frank Petrunger a call and ask him what is going on
Are they
over
talking
there.
about full-time or part-time?
They're talking about doing away EMTA,
Yeah, but are they talking about full or part-time?
full-time busing.
They said part-time in the paper.
Well, they said that
Buses.
I'm just curious. If it's part-time, they won't have to pay the...
you can't do
But they're
part-time.
going to
Why?
have to pay for everything. Who's going to drive them?
They have to hire. Yeah, exactly right. And from what I've heard, there's a shortage of CDL drivers as well. So, they have 2 months to buy a fleet of buses, hire and train, establish routes, purchase insurances, and that's not even starting with the logistics aspect of what's going to happen.
That was a fault because the Commonwealth now is looking at the...
Kaz, here's the thing. It's been 35 years.
Yeah.
They've been going back and forth on it.
So what
okay?
brought it to a head now?
You want to know what I think it is? I don't think the bus drivers want to drive the city kids around anymore.
Well, that could be it.
It is it.
Well,
The $14 million that they gave the school district.
well, my theory's always been that if something has been, what do you call it, hidden for 35 years?
Yeah.
Somebody brought it to the forefront.
If they're going to do an audit on the EMTA and all of a sudden, well, maybe this isn't too good. I think, because I know a lot of bus drivers and they are sick of the behavior of the city kids. And they don't want to drive them around. They don't want to deal with their bull crap anymore. And if the EMTA isn't benefiting from it financially, they're not going to do it anymore. And this is their way of getting out from under it. Do you think that if that was the case, that we would, if they were still thinking about it, we would be going out and getting bids already from different companies for buses and everything?
I think that the directors have already agreed to do this, yet they won't give up their own personal time to take a 10-hour course in management of financials.
That's their personal. I don't know. I know what you're talking about. I saw, but at this point, the whole busing thing, John, is going to be. They just opened it. We're trying to figure out the transportation for everybody to the new schools and the new alignment. Now, in a 2-month span, we have June and July. Well, maybe 2.5 months. Well, because we're in the middle of June. We have to put together a whole new transportation system for the kids in the school
somebody
district.
rattled the cage of the Commonwealth.
Well, you hire a gentleman who's supposed to be your FEO for $100,000.
Yeah, but his name was given by the Commonwealth. They had to pick. They had a select list to pick from, John.
Hold on a second. John, are you talking about the superintendent or the babysitter they have from the state? The babysitter, they had a name of a couple different people.
Yeah, you can't tell. The state gave them what they wanted.
And they can't even work, they can't even move without that guy getting the okay from him.
Hey, John, do you remember when they did the Civic Center?
Yes.
People ask, well, why didn't you pick an in-town firm? When the Commonwealth gives you the money and they tell you who the contractors or the architects will be, that's your list you have to work from.
True.
And you know what, and you don't have to be told why that is. You know the reason.
Well, sure. Everybody else knows.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fact of life.
I'll scratch yours.
Yeah, and so they got a select list of people. But I got to agree with you. I got to think that, look, I was on the board when we did this stuff illegally, so they're saying, but it was never brought up to us as a board member that there was a problem.
They do an audit every 3 years.
But we never heard there was any issue.
No, from a lot of my friends are bus drivers for EMTA.
I know they're frustrated. A lot of them.
Kids their behavior is disgusting anymore on the buses.
Then it's up to us to put people on the bus.
And I think we have to a
either
point.
Security people or whatever. Then
We have monitors that drive and we have the blue coats in the school districts, in the school buildings. We're trying to be proactive, but guess what? Moms and dads, they're dropping the ball anymore. Let's be honest. Let's face it. I've worked with kids. I worked in the school district for 20 plus years. I've worked with kids and families in the school district, and every year it just keeps getting worse and worse.
But I'd like to know if it's cheaper to have EMTA do it, and then have our resource officers on the buses. Maybe it's cheaper than going on doing it the other way.
I thought it said in the article that it would be cheaper to farm it out to EMTA. I mean, the buses, he said it, the buses, the maintenance, the drivers, insurance.
And how much would it cost to put a resource officer, which we're already paying for?
Yeah, well, they could do that.
Select runs, if that's our problem.
And now we have to hire a consultant to figure that all out.
Well, sure you do, because...
And he'll be from out of town. He doesn't even know the roads in Erie. He'll be like, what street is this? You still there, John?
Not enough wound up for that. Let's go. Who's the liaison, Kat?
Okay, that's Kathy Schaaf.
Yeah?
If you can't get a hold of her subcommittee...
Talk to her, because she doesn't make a move without Liz Allen.
Well, that's her subcommittee, is Liz Allen and Bob Mursky.
Well...
So you can call like Liz or Bob if you can't get a hold of her.
Maybe I'll call down at the water department. What I'm getting at, have another blow up on State Street. You look back the last 2-3 years, State Street at 26th, State Street at 24th, State Street at 22nd and a half. Are they getting that much power or pressure shot into them, blowing the pipes all to hell? Or are they just doing like what Penelec did years ago when I was in the steam department? Patch. When you do a patch and put a flange in it and splice it, it's going to be the weakest point then, and you get too much pressure and bang, there you go. You got the road washed away, now you got to bring in fill, you got to bricks came up there from the old brick road that used to be in front of the Kohler building down there. Then you got to cement it and all that, then come in and patch it.
Isn't there a tunnel underneath there too?
There was one by Miller Brothers there. There used to be a tunnel going across where they used to run their jitneys with the beer back and forth.
Yeah, it probably still is there too.
Probably. But we'd like to find, well, you can do that because you're a council person. I think you're my liaison for everything. You're on top of it and giving it to a specific council person. I think all councils should take care of anything.
Well, they do, but the reason that we have the liaison system...
I understand that, but I think that the citizen should have the right to ask any council person about anything.
Oh, you do, John. It's just, we only split it up so that when you go to the meetings...
I understand.
I got my two committees, I got meetings, Liz and them have to go to the water meetings. So to make sure that they're all covered, that's how we did it.
I do understand that, but
okay.
But the two people are representing the taxpayer for those departments. I do not have any faith in either one of them.
Okay, so your problem is from 22nd to 26th, or even further?
No, I'm talking about anywhere in the city.
No, I mean that problem on State Street. You're saying it's
problems.
Yeah, what the problem you're addressing is right now is we're having a problem between where 22nd to 26th, roughly.
Well, that was all. It should be all brand new by now.
Well, you think it is, but maybe it isn't.
But I'm saying, who down at the water department is letting too much pressure go? And if there's a weak spot, it goes to the weakest spot, and then you have a blowout. And they can't say it was the thaw and frost. Of course, they're going to say that anyways.
Yeah, not now, no.
But I'm saying that's the whole thing. We used to call power plant down there in the wintertime where that was our Christmas bonus because they'd always shoot too much pressure and blow all the lines out. And we wound up working double time and overtime the weekends and everything else for our Christmas package. So I just thought I'd rattle you a little bit.
Oh, we appreciate the rattling.
Well, and as far as that school district, we're going to be watching that real close. If these clowns go ahead with that and vote yes, there's a problem.
I don't know how they're going to not vote yes, because I think EMTA has already made the decision to pull.
I think so, too.
But the problem is, they got $14 million to play with, but,
Yeah.
the $14 million is supposed, now they admitted, if they're forced to divert, let's say, $1.2 million out of there or whatever,
Yeah.
that means $2 million less that they had earmarked for
Well, that's what they said. They were going to
eradicating other problems.
They were talking about taking money out of the building funds and these other funds to pay for an entirely new school transportation system. And you have that would take over a year to plan and designate to do it right. It would take one whole school year and a summer to purchase, to get drivers hired, trained,
Yeah.
routes established, iron out the problems.
Yeah, and they have to supply all the charter schools and everything else with transportation.
Yeah.
This is a bigger ball game than they think it is.
Oh, I'm telling you, get ready. I can't wait till the fireworks in beginning of the school year next year. There's going to be kids dropped off at the wrong house. There's going to be, oh my God.
Well, the trouble with the Commonwealth, they, especially on busing, you got to see the case where you got to bring a kid in from Waterford into like prep.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got two school districts handling the busing.
Same thing with Collegiate Academy.
Yep. That's.
A Collegiate Academy is supposed to be all city schools, though.
Yeah,
Or, sorry.
They bring them from the outside.
Yeah.
They pay the tuition.
Correct.
And they got to bring them in there if they have to.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
So.
Yep.
The only thing we ever got out of was the way the state rules is that whatever you do for your kids,
Yeah.
you have to do for everybody within the geographic area. So we never, at one time, we did not bus high school kids.
Right.
We did not. There was no busing. There was busing for middle school, but not high school. The reason was every high school was within,
Within a mile and a half.
Yeah, well, pretty much. And we determined at that age there was no need. So we didn't have to bus prep kids or Mercier's kids or anybody.
Well, if you ever go by St. Louis,
But now that's out the window.
Down there when they were dropping them off.
Yeah, now the problem, John, is when we created one high school, we created a problem now.
It's true.
Now because you got kids from the east side, they got to go more than 2 miles. So now, we got to do that for every private school and charter school.
It's true. Well, we'll let you go. I just spilling my oats here a little bit.
That's okay.
And go Yankees.
No, they're not going anywhere, John.
See that? I saw a little statistic here. You know that?
Which one? The one with the 27 number?
Yeah, the judges struck out so many times. Do you know 1 year Yogi Berra went through the whole year and he only struck out 12 times?
I heard something from Rick Manning the other day.
No, I can't stand him. But go ahead.
Well, no, he's a ball player.
I know it, but
He said the game has changed so much that strikeouts don't bother people. If you look at it, it's a home run driven league now.
Yeah.
So if you strike out 100 times, nobody gives a.
Well.
No, they really don't care. The other day, an Indian tried to bunt.
I know Jolton D went through a whole year and he only struck out 13 times.
Yeah, that was important then. But John, today the guys don't care. They're looking at the home run ball, and if they strike out in the meantime, look at the bunting game. It's almost gone, right?
The bunting game.
The bunting game
is. Anyone knows how to bunt.
No, the Indians had a need for one the other day, and the guy pops it up.
So
they don't teach it in the Little League no more.
No. So well, have a great afternoon. I'll be down maybe next week.
On the show?
Yeah.
Oh, go.
Oh, wait, this is a ratings.
Wait a minute, mark this down. Wait a minute.
The ratings will probably fall out.
220 on, wait, yeah, what day is it today?
Hey, John, people either love you or hate you. It's a good thing. There's no such thing as bad publicity, right?
They want to see the masked man,
They're
not
like,
the Lone
this
Ranger.
John guy, I hate that guy, but you know what? I still want to see him.
Yeah, not the Lone. They don't want to see the Lone Ranger. They want to see this man.
You know that John guy? He's got a lot of information. I like that guy. I'm going to watch. So either way, John, you're good for ratings, right?
Here, guys.
See you later.
I can't wait to say this will be honest. You know how many years I've been trying?
He said it. He said it. He didn't say I was kidding either.
I'm going to watch him this week.
He's
not going to do anything dangerous. No.
We're going to put a tail on him. Make sure he shows up.
Call his wife. Tell him. Make sure he doesn't.
Yeah, but if he comes on the show, who's going to call?
Oh my God.
We might have to sit here and just talk amongst ourselves.
There might be people getting back at him.
They might. Yeah, right. People that, hey, you're either liked by some people or you're not liked, but either way, they want to see who he is. So, just like me and you, Kaz. Not everybody likes me and you.
Oh, no, that's okay.
But they want, it's like a car crash. You just stop and watch it for a second. This show's like a car crash.
I was going to make another analogy, but I won't. But
okay.
I said, I tell people, you don't like me, but you used to, in the old days, I'd say, you're still listening,
Yeah, hey, like there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Just, what's the old saying? Just spell my name right.
Yeah. Oh, good luck with that.
What's what they always said,
All right. So yeah, well, I saw the population's dropping again. There's good news.
Any surprise?
No surprise. But the immigrant population that's rising 20%. So
well, actually, it's been slowed down now because of the president's new policies.
Yeah, president, he don't want nobody coming in here.
No, but what's amazing is that the county nobody when you say the county, they think that only includes the county.
Yeah.
But the whole county's population is going down.
Right.
Well, it's gone down about 1,000 or so a year.
Most people aren't leaving the city for Mill Creek anymore. Most people are leaving the city for other states.
Yeah. So, what's happening is, well, even in the county, if you look at the total county population is dropping a little over 1,000 every year. Now, you say, well, that ain't much, but you know what?
Every year after year.
When we were 100, how long did it take for the city to drop?
A couple of years.
40,000 people.
Well, I don't know about that one.
Well, we were 138, right?
Yeah.
So you take away 38,000 plus the 2,000 below 100,000 we are now.
Yeah.
It took us since the 50s to drop that far.
Right.
But it's been, at times it was a precipitous drop. Right. You take 2,000 every year or so.
Right.
And pretty soon, like every census you go down, 3,000-4,000, Yeah. What's scary is, if you're a company, a marketer, you're looking at people say, well, how come we don't have this? Like Trader Joe's or something. Well, if you're Trader Joe's,
right,
or you're what do you call it? What's the other one? Costco.
Yeah.
And you're looking, you're going, can I make money here? Is there a base of people?
We have to look at our if as a businessman, I'm sitting at my desk looking at our demographic study.
They're not pretty.
Like I said, if I'm not Dollar General, I'm like,
well, if you're like,
where's the to be shredded file over here?
Well, if you're looking at the area and you go, do I put my place here? Because they're dropping every year, right?
Oh, let's see, loss of population. Poverty-stricken.
And what they do is they look at the
racial tensions.
Well, they look at the per capita income too. They look at, okay, here's let's say Peoria.
Yeah.
Okay. And here's Erie.
Right.
Okay, and they go, let's see, Peoria's got stable or increasing population. Ours is going down. Yeah. Then they look at, well, what's the average income?
Right.
Per capita income. Yep. What's the,
Yep.
And they start looking like, well, is my business going to make it there?
Yeah.
Do we have enough of a market? Like you can't put. I'll be blunt. Or Dollar General might be okay.
Yeah.
When you can bet your boots when Boscov's come in, that they looked at the area and said, "Is there enough people with income that are willing to pay a higher dollar for our product?"
Listen, the whole no family sustaining job aspect will ruin this community. We have people, we've talked about it, we have people out there trying to bring jobs here. The county, the city, the EDCD or whatever the heck, the Erie Chamber of Do Nothing, everybody needs to start working together to start going, and I give John Persinger, I'm going to say his name again, I'm going to give him credit. He's out there trying to bring companies here. so we can have family-sustaining jobs, so we can have market-rate housing, because we need people with money. When people like that work at GE, all those good-paying jobs, all those people live in the 5th Ward, the upper 5th Ward. I mean, those nice houses in the city that are paying taxes, you watch, all them houses are going to start going up for sale. But here's the sad part. All the value is starting to plummet out from underneath those houses because the market's going to be saturated with houses.
Which is why I tried to tell the school district that if we do nothing with the LERTA program, and your assessed value starts dropping, they always look at there's a house there to pay taxes. Based on what figure, though? As the assessed value goes down.
I think,
and if you look at the city's assessed value, it's on its way down. That means now 2 things got to happen when we pass the budget. You know what that is. Okay? We tax on assessed value. So to keep the same rate of money flown in, if our expenses remain the same, what do we got to do?
Raise them.
Now you're putting more of a burden.
I mean, people have worked all their lives and invested in their homes, and the property values are plummeting. And especially with GE, I'm telling you, the reciprocal effect of GE leaving. There are people that are on the Upper East Side that are trying to sell their house. They moved, okay? They want to try to sell their house. And I heard this from a city council person. Another city council person told me this. That they might have to move back to Erie because the property value they're getting, the offers are so low that they may have to move back here. Now that's good.
And live in their house.
And live in the house. Now, that's good and bad. We want them back here. But the fact is that there are people, seniors, and people that have worked their entire lives and invested in that property in this city, and to just watch it go straight downhill.
I honestly don't know if the time came that I had to sell my house. I'll probably make money compared to what I paid for it.
Right.
But I don't think I'd get what it's worth.
There's no way. Not at this point in time. You will not get what
I bought my house pretty cheap. Not cheap, but, I bought it many years ago, so it's probably accrued enough value that I'm going to make a profit.
Right.
But it won't be like I'm going to make what it should be.
No. You will. I would consider this a buyer's market right now, not a seller's market, because there's the flood.
You can get better value if a landlord wants to come in and rent your house out.
For
college kids than you would if you try to sell it outright.
The whole GE thing is going to have serious ramifications, amongst everything else. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Kaz, where were you Saturday?
Saturday? I was out of town.
Oh, you didn't get my phone call I called you that day, did you?
Did you call me at home or on my cell phone?
I think it's at home.
I played my messages. I better check them again.
Did we miss a party?
No, it had the Democratic Party, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I heard it was a hot time in the old town.
Oh, man.
You got that right, Lloyd. Oh, man is right. The Democratic... Go ahead, Lloyd, you talk. What do you think?
Yeah, it was a hot one.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah, when I got back to town, a friend of mine told me in church I missed the bloodbath.
Yeah, you did.
The whole Democratic Party took a shift the other day. For those that don't know, it took a serious shift.
No.
And it's like, oh God, we just got to start getting along. The young folk, the progressives, and Lloyd, if I'm speaking out of turn, jump in if you think I'm wrong, but the progressives and, there's like a infighting battle between the progressives and, which I guess would be, the far left and what would be
what you call it is a clique.
Right. That's what you want to call it. That's good. Yeah. And, what had happened is that they ran enough people for committee people to where they could vote for who they wanted for these different offices. Now, change sometimes is good. Sometimes the old Democrats, we get stuck in not we, but I'm like in the middle. I'm like not an old guard. I'm not a young guard. Yeah. I agree with both aspects of the party. But when these guys come in there and do that, the Democratic Party is going to make a shift. And, the scary thing about that for me, is that nationally speaking, the polarization between the two parties, the far left and the far right. There's not enough moderates in the middle that are coming out to vote, that are trying to develop policy. Every elected official, Trump, even Obama had to do it. You have to, if you're a Democrat, you got to curtail to the far left. If you're a Republican, you got to start curtailing to the far right. Then you get your Tea Party people over here. Then you get your progressives over here. And they do, all good sides. They have good points. But they also have bad points. And the way that some of these people went about taking this over, I don't know. It's not about teamwork and working together. It's about just craziness. Go ahead, Lloyd.
Then the next thing. Hey, Kaz, did they change the ordinance on the houses? As long as you pay your taxes, none in the city and due?
Say it again. As long as you pay your taxes, what?
Pay your taxes. We have a house by us. I'll give you the house number, 637 East 23rd.
6 what?
637.
Right. East 23rd?
Yes.
Okay.
They have rodents coming out. Groundhogs.
Ooh.
Skunks. I mean, they're not even afraid of anybody.
Is anybody living there, Dwight?
No, the owner's been in Florida 8 years.
So the house is empty?
Yes. And here's the bad thing what they did. The front screen door, they bolted it shut. All screen doors.
Well, you know what? I'll have to check and see if it's on blighted review or anything. Or see if there's been any, has the neighbors complained?
Yeah, we've been playing. I talked to the guy at 870-1111.
Yeah, you mean Moss, yeah.
I don't know who the guy is.
What did he say? He's doing a good job, but he only takes the calls. I got to find out who he turned it over to.
Yeah, and Tony came and he looked at it. The way it sounded like nobody can do anything about it.
Tony did it?
Yeah, Tony, the building inspector, came.
Okay, that's good. That gives me a name to talk to. I know Tony. I'll find out for you, Lloyd, okay?
Yeah, we need to do something. They're eating holes and everything.
Well, I'm sorry. They got to do something. If they got animals on there, their owner has to. We had one by my neighborhood that was burned, and critters were coming out of it. They forced them to seal it up, properly.
Mm-hmm.
And there's little you can do outside of that, as long as it, if it's properly secured, it's okay. But it still has to be maintained. It can't be in a deplorable state. But, we've sat on if you listen to some of our meetings with council and stuff, we're not happy with code enforcement right now.
Yeah, I know.
They've been lax in a lot of things. We're giving them the tools now. We're giving them shortly we should be rolling out the quality of life ticketing. So now that they got one less excuse to fall back on, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it.
I'll probably get in trouble. I don't give a crap. But it's time we start. We cannot let this, I'm watching houses slip one by one, and it's not just in your area, Lloyd. It's all over the city. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
But nobody should put up with, what do you got, rodents and groundhogs coming out of there?
Yeah.
Wow. Can you see the hole?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then they should be able to tell the owner to seal it up at the very least. Now they're going to probably have to go in there and exterminate it. Sounds like, God, you probably wouldn't want to be inside there.
No. Okay.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Okay, I got that. I got to check on that form. I had one thing nice about being a councilman.
What's that?
Especially if they don't know it at first, until you introduce yourself. I was in the barbershop the other day.
Oh.
I'm not supposed to tell you where, but,
Getting a little trim?
Well, Lombardi's barbershop up there by Break Iron.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything.
No?
I didn't say it over the air, but.
No, you didn't. You were thinking out loud.
Yeah. I was talking with some young person. It turned out he was a doctor from Cleveland.
Oh, really?
Hey, he opened up my mind to a lot of things, as does the business people that come in, but
yeah.
we see some of the things we have to change. He brought up some interesting points that you brought up.
Uh-oh.
Well, nobody knows, like he was telling his friends. He's working, in town here. And he said, some of his fellow physicians, the young people, that, they go, well, where is the town? And can you do anything there?
Yeah.
This is a problem we have.
Yeah.
When people even in close proximity to the area they said, well, can you really do something on that peninsula? Well, yeah, but we don't advertise it. We do not do a good job. I came in the other day from, I come across I-80 from Allentown. Hardly any information in the what do you call visitors booths. There's none when you cross the border in Maryland. That's a major input into Erie.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I think our Chamber of Commerce is a joke.
Well, they're not doing, we gave them money too.
They're
supposed to have money from, what do you call it?
I think they're hiring.
Room tax.
They need somebody running it. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, Cass.
Hey, how you been?
Good. I just got in and I just heard the tail end about losing population and what have you. But last Friday, the mayor was on with Steinhagen, and I was actually surprised at what he said, that there's 20,000 refugees, whatever else we categorize them as, 20,000 refugees in Erie. And I started to think that's 1 in every 5 people.
Well, actually less, but you're right.
Yeah, and I guess I just kind of lost touch with how that population was growing, and 1 out of 5. I wonder if they aren't a bigger percent of the population than the African American community in the city. I'm not sure.
Well, the last time I looked at, now I may be speaking out of turn.
Yeah.
The last time they had they have a classification. I've always heard that it was around 11 to 12%.
Yeah.
What people identified themselves as African Americans.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. Now, I don't know how accurate that figure is.
But I was just surprised, and the mayor was kind of, talking about celebrating diversity at Celebrate Erie, and they got a section for that.
I can tell you the school district, over the years, has had to absorb more ESL students and stuff over the years, so it was no shock that the population's been increasing.
Yeah.
Because between the International Institute and the Catholic Church, they were assimilating them into. They actually took over a lot of the areas that were abandoned.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but a lot of them.
Right. Yeah, but the number just caught me off guard, and it would shocked me at really how high it was.
And it would be higher, Richard, if the president hasn't put a stop to it lately.
Yeah. And then he did say that he goes, the guy's staying busy. I got to tell you, sometimes I think there might be 3 of them.
Yeah.
They cloned him or something because he's everywhere. But he said he goes to I guess once a month. Do they swear the people in at the courthouse?
Yeah.
And he said that, every time he goes every time, and there's like 50 people, and so that's 600 a year. If they do it 12 times a year.
Well, if you go back to the roots of Erie, back into the what I call the pre-World War II era.
Yeah.
When my grandparents came here from Europe.
Yeah.
That's what built up the city.
Yeah. Hey, my grandfather came from Greece.
And then what happened, though, what we saw back then, Rich, what we saw back then was what they brought out, the bakeries, the restaurants, the what do you call it, the tailor shops, the shoemakers, and a lot of them worked in the factories. Actually, at the time, the factories needed workers, and we couldn't supply them fast enough. Plus, you saw a lot of the minorities come up from Mississippi at the time. And Erie was growing.
When I worked at Kaiser Aluminum, they had a dye shop there, and they manufactured or they cut all their own dyes.
Yeah.
I would hazard a guess that 75, maybe 80% of the dye sinkers at Kaiser were from Canada. And I'm serious about that. Now, this is going back a long ways.
Yeah.
But to get that skill set. I don't know what Canada was doing, but that's where a lot of them came from, or most of them came from. And, so, I mean, it's hard to call them refugees or immigrants or whatever, but, they came from a different country and settled in Erie. And But, getting back to that housing issue, I just, I'm a homeowner. All three of us are homeowners. It's getting harder and harder. The values are going down, and I don't know what it's going to take to turn that corner. And sometimes when I listen to the new housing that they're proposing for different areas, if it's new housing and you're a young family and you want to have a family, you kind of want a yard, not live in that's important, I think, to most young families, is to have a place for your kids and your dog to go play that's fenced in and safe.
Well, Rich, when I first came out of the service, I was offered two choices.
Yeah.
You had the VA program or you had this HUD program.
Yeah.
And I was looking around trying to figure out, should I buy my dad's house? Should I?
Yeah.
And I was getting tired of renting, so actually I got into this program where the government sort of built me a house, but eventually I paid everything on it. I was paying full taxes.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not necessarily a bad idea because, we should be looking at stuff like that. And
like Mr. Steiner said that, that Persinger, I give him a lot of credit. He's out there trying. And we need independent private business ventures, but we need to consolidate all these government entities that are supposed to create economic development and get them under one roof, because they're different than private. Private, you've got to make money to exist and be successful, where these other entities that we have, all these with these glitzy names, economic this, economic that, Jay Crouch, you can run the whole gambit of probably about 20 of them.
Well, when was the last time you saw business people throw $25 million into a pot?
Yeah, see? And if it was, that's private sector, but you can't get the people that get government money, they're just too scattered. It's like you threw it up against a wall and wanted to see what stuck, but they don't work good together, I don't think. It doesn't seem like they do.
Rich,
they're all protecting their serfdom, and we need to get that working better, Kaz. And you guys on council should drag all of them down there and say, hey, what are you doing for us? And maybe you're duplicating efforts, and maybe we should look at a different way to do some of this stuff. But
I went down to
the way we're doing it now, we're failing. And almost every time we try to do anything. So we'll see what happens. But
I went down to a caucus meeting, Rich, and for county council, and I was sitting there, and John Persinger came in to give a presentation to the county.
Yeah.
And county, it was Fiore actually, sat up and said, listen, we appreciate that you guys are going out there to try to bring the companies. He went to Seattle to try to bring in companies for the innovative district to build on the cybersecurity innovative
smart
zone.
city thing.
Yeah. So even Fiore told him, he said, look, one of you, the chamber, one of you guys have to take the lead, because everybody's going around doing their own thing and nobody's on the same page, which is exactly what you said. Yeah. You're 100% correct.
Well, I call it the shotgun approach, where we need a rifle, firing a dedicated bullet at the target. Yeah. What are we doing? Yeah. We're firing, hoping something's going to stick.
No, now, if I was in charge of everything, Rich, tell me what you think about this. The county has their person. The city has economic, the chamber of do nothing. Yeah. These guys put some money together, hire a couple people or somebody to be out there full time, a consultant, something. Yeah. Their job is to bring money to this innovative district full time, not to live here, travel there, come back, travel there, come back, to be there. I mean, you have to spend, that's the problem with the city of Erie. It's been that way since I've started watching and paying attention to things. Yeah. We do not spend a little to make a lot. We are so cheap and tight with no vision. We will not spend a little to make a lot. The casino is being, for one perfect example.
The arena costs $12 million.
Yeah.
The state gives us $9 million.
Yeah.
We build it at $9 million.
Yeah.
We never
The
take
Bayfront Highway is a disaster anymore because instead of 2 lanes, we got one petty little lane. I mean,
we settle for mediocrity.
And the Bay, over at the, when you go up, there should have, now they're putting an exit off the East Avenue. That should have been, when I rode by there, I'm like, what are we doing? What's going on here? You can get off coming down, coming north, but you can't get off going south.
You mean on the Bayfront Highway?
Yeah, the Bayfront Highway, yeah. I mean, who does this? Why would you do this?
It went back to when they had McBride Viaduct there. They figured somebody goofed up bad. And they and at the time, every time they bring it up, we don't fight for our turf.
Yeah.
You go to Pittsburgh or Philly, they don't sit there and let the state dictate to them.
Yeah.
But we sit there and we're isolated. You got Mill Creek over here, Erie over here. Nobody cares about each other.
Yeah. No.
The Bayfront Highway, I grew up on East Front Street.
Yeah.
Okay, I would look, it was a dirt road.
Yeah.
For my entire...
It was a crap hole.
Half of my life, it was a dirt road. And then I'm saying, all right, Bayfront Highway, we got 2, and then they built 1 lane each way. I'm like, what are we doing? Why would we do that? And then we go put an intermodal system, tax-free, tax-exempt, on Bayfront property right in front. Oh, then we go build that Bayfront, the boat terminal with no contracts, programs, agreements. And then that falls into the water. We got to fish it out of the water, all on Bayfront property.
And the lady told us they got a boat cruising that can't come here.
And we got a boat terminal with no boats.
Yeah.
And what's it become? Non-profits. It becomes non-profit offices.
Oh.
Isn't Kelly's office out there and some non-profit crap? Sorry, John.
The only thing paying rent, I think, is Greyhound.
And that intermodal building, and a little off subject, but that was originally started by the EMTA, and then for whatever reason they couldn't run it and gave it to the Port Authority, and after 10 years they gave it back to EMTA. You start to, you get dizzy following the trail of who's doing what to who.
Dumb and Dumber. Who puts the least, a bus, I mean, the poorest people ride the bus.
Yeah.
Okay? Why would you put a bus company on the most taxable property, waterfront property? Why would you put a bus company there? At least with Nick Scott and these guys, they're talking about offices, apartments, paying taxes, jobs. I mean, granted, they're not family sustaining gigs, but for right there, that's what you want. That's the type of development you want right there. But you can't keep putting these nonprofit.
Well, the new families, what I call the new family jobs, the insurance companies and the hospitals, they will come, and so other things, once we lay the ground rule down.
Yeah.
But right now, I mean, they got no reason to come here.
Hammett, Vincent, Gannon, Mercyhurst, they would all be stupid to not put in this innovative district and the cyberspace intellectual studies that we got to try to bring. They are losing their client base. Every time that population drops, they are losing money. So if they better start spending a little to make a lot. I'm serious, we need to start being proactive because we are drowning.
This should be a wake-up call for the safe suburbs around us.
Yeah.
That as the core rots,
Might want to call
so will the outside rot.
Just line up.
Okay, thanks.
I agree with you, John. I do.
Thank you, Rich.
Everything you said.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, but I'm going to go.
Okay, bye.
Remember, as the core rots, so will the outside.
Listen. Everybody says, well, you're pouring money into downtown and you're not doing anything in the neighborhoods. They're partially right. But the downtown is where everything starts.
Well,
your downtown is supposed to be with people with influence and money and vibes and, taverns, arts, festivals, this, that, to bring people downtown. And you have these young people just get out of college that want to live the city life. They get the job here and then they move, to the nicer neighborhoods and then they're part of our community.
If you remember what Buki said, you're to start in the yellow zone, right?
Yeah.
But he also said,
you
have to, wherever the money's available, you have to strike.
Right.
Now, are we going to tell the people downtown, the Marquettes, St. Vincent was in on that, Hammett, I think, was in on it, Gannon, Erie Insurance, hope I didn't miss anybody.
Yeah.
But that $25 million pot, do we tell them we're not ready for you, or do we take advantage of it?
Right.
So you take advantage of it, and now it's up to the city with less stress on them downtown, with less stress to worry about downtown.
Right.
Now they can start looking for grants to go into the neighborhoods.
Right.
Because now you got merchants that have said, we'll take care of down here a little bit.
Yeah.
The private sector is saying, we'll help you out down there. You don't have to put all your marbles here, right?
Go ahead. Everything is curtailed on jobs. If we do not have family-sustaining jobs, you can't fight blight because people don't have the income to fight it. Property values dip. People are going to start selling and getting out. Crime will continue. Drugs will continue. The cycle of poverty will continue unless there's opportunity and education. We do have things heading. We have people that are starting to work together. Erie and Mill Creek, there's starting to communicate. For years and decades, they did no chance of communication. Mm-hmm. But I think Mill Creek is starting to wise up a little bit. And Lawrence Park, good luck to them. Once GE pulls out, we talked about that last week. No sense talking about it again. But when you bring company, you have the downtown, you give them the free taxes. Okay, we have the LERTA that will bring. I've seen you've showed me the statistics. They work. The LERTA works, but people don't want to pay. Why should the rich get? I hear that on social media. Why am I giving the tax? Those guys, they have money. Why am I giving them money? Because they were just to make them richer. Well, you know what? We are. We are making the rich, the Scots, everybody else. They are getting rich and richer. But guess what? They live here. They spend their money here.
Well, at least in the old days, they stayed there and spent their money,
And that's where LERTA, that's why you guys have put together a plan, and you guys need to watch out for the tax. And I think you guys, I know Carl's doing, and Brian Polito from the school district, you guys are all working together, come up with a plan where you guys are protected, all the taxpayers are represented, so that when they do the investment and grow things, that it's responsible. That after that 10-year is up, they don't bolt. You know what insanity is, John, don't you? Yeah. Insanity is when you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different outcome.
I tell people, it's time when I talked about this young man, I didn't finish,
Yeah.
He opened my eyes to a lot of things. His friends would say, he finds it easier to go home on a weekend.
Yeah.
And visit 4th Street in Cleveland I said, what do you want here?
Yeah.
And he says, you know what I want? He says, I'm not out for the quarter a beer night.
Right.
So I don't need all the taverns you have on State Street. Yeah. That's okay for,
Right.
He said, me? He said, I like to meet people my age. I'm getting a little older. He said, we don't have a jazz bar. We don't have a martini bar. What he meant by that was, we need like Harrisburg had a Calmer, like you got a couple bars that cater to people of my age, a little bit for everything. He brought up stuff about like food and entertainment, just in general, and he said, it'd be so nice to like overlook the waterfront. He said, and I looked at it and I'm saying, this is why kids are leaving. I mean, I hear the same thing from my kids, like.
Yes, think about when you were younger. When I was a young guy, I loved coming downtown. The bars, the girls, the parties, the festivals, all that. I loved it. I was like, downtown, let's go here. We'd bar hop, boom, boom, boom. Then when I hit like 30, 35, it was like, I can't stand going downtown anymore. I hate going downtown anymore.
Well, this young doctor said to me, he said, I spent a lot of my life studying.
Yeah.
He says, and now, he said, I'm too old for the bar scene, but he said, I'd like to, just have a place to talk to friends. And I thought about that, and I'm going, but his perspective of Erie was very telling that his friends, first of all, sometimes didn't even know where we were, or worse yet, didn't know if there's anything good to do here.
Yes. Hold on one second, caller. The key is everybody wants kids to live here. They get out of college.
Yeah.
They're going to live downtown where it's vibrant, party time. They're going to settle here, get a job, and then move to different neighborhoods throughout the city. And then it's a cycle.
That's a cycle.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, good afternoon, fellas.
Good afternoon.
Hey, you guys been doing done to indicate what kind of businesses Erie could become very supportive of? I mean, I know we got plastic molding companies here. We have, some other interesting prospective companies. But I'm thinking, remember, we used to have Mark's Toys here, and I'm thinking, that's one business that seems to endure time. Toys are continuing being made and used by kids, and probably will continue. And wonder if we can maybe a toy manufacturing company in here with the plastic industry we have, mold making and all that. The other company, we used to have the aluminum company here. Well, that went overseas for a while, but now maybe we can bring it back and get back into doing some more aluminum making items, because those are another business.
I think, Doc, the companies do their own research on that. And
like the Manufacturing Association?
Yeah, not only them, but I mean the companies themselves, when they vet an area, and don't think they haven't looked at Erie in those towns, but they look at, and this is the bad part, we all know why GE's not here and why they're in Texas.
Yeah.
We know the real reason. It's a right-to-work state. The state of Texas really goes out of their way with tax incentives. And I don't know whether Pennsylvania can afford to, but I do know on the issue of right-to-work state, that's a very touchy subject. And you're going to have to ask people, to turn their whole life around, their whole concept of how they think. Because what looks like is going to happen to Erie, and I've heard, maybe you heard it, John, they're trying to work with like Barron and other companies to try to get like the manufacturing you'd see here would be more high tech in a clean environment, making boards and stuff like that, technology. That could be one thing.
The future is technology.
But heavy industry, that's going to be a tough one.
The kind of stuff you're talking about, Doc, all that stuff, like toys and everything like that, it's done across overseas.
Or if it's done in America, it's done where...
it's done in Texas or down in those where they can pay $7, $8 an hour or, $9 an hour, minimum wage type of jobs.
But I've been hearing, too, that even in terms of the high-tech industry, computers are going to be on the way out. Nowadays, we're going to be maybe talking to things like your Ring or, a small device that won't even be the big stuff anymore.
Yeah, all that technology, though, is going to take, like, skilled workers, people that, I was in a honest God, I was in a room and down in the basement of a building in Erie, that Erie Insurance kind of is down there running it. These kids were sitting around. I said, what a job. They got foosball and everything else down there, and they get paid to think. And they're designing algorithms and all kinds of crazy things that I don't even know about. Right. And I'm going, what they're doing is they're the new technology, the new kids. And when they start designing systems, like you and I, we look at our watch, and somebody has to build those boards and all that stuff. That's the new technology we may be getting. But like John says, a lot of this stuff is being done overseas. When you look at like the car industry and stuff like that, or if they are doing it, you remember, you've been around long enough, Doc. We went through the steel plant, the Miller Beer factory. We went through the Saturn plant, and they all moved to states that were more conducive to what they wanted money-wise. You've been there, right, Doc?
Well, you're right, but the thing is, I noticed that a lot of that business that went overseas is looking at coming back this way.
Well, sure. It all depends. The game changes. It's it's a game that's always evolving. Like, when we were young, they came up here because they wanted the water, the skilled workers, and they wanted the marketing network. Once we built interstate highways and everything went out the window. They could ship stuff from anywhere now.
Between technology and free market trade and international.
It killed us.
Yeah, especially our manufacturing. It just destroyed the manufacturing sector of our economy, especially in not only Erie, but the entire Rust Belt.
Well, what do they call Pittsburgh? Meds and Eds.
Yeah.
That's what they call it. It's not the Steel City no more. It's Meds and Eds.
Well, see, what has happened is when we were younger, or, a few years back, medical or healthcare was affordable. Now that's one of the biggest job creators around.
Yeah, technology.
Yeah, so technology jobs. So all the good paying jobs are in the healthcare field, where they were in the in the manufacturing. So now it's a shift. Now Erie itself, we have to come into the 21st century. We need fiber optics. We need to be smart we need a smart city. So the next generation, none of us that are on this show are talking right now. Our next generation, our kids and grandkids, will have the tools available to continue creating family-sustaining jobs regarding technology.
If you want to look where we really lost out, look at American Sterilizer. At a time when healthcare is now at the forefront, they're not even here.
Right.
Not in the shape they were back then, right? Or are they even here?
Right.
Well, the one business that is probably getting advantage of the increased medical care facilities is Erie Magnetics. There's stuff being, a lot of magnetism is being used in the development of health products nowadays too.
And see, you know what amazed me, Doc? I looked over the border, and Governor Cuomo, was the governor there now?
I think so. New York.
He invested a lot of money in a little town called, was it Silver Creek or Dunkirk? No, Dunkirk. They're building a manufacturing plant for medicine. Huge project.
Is it?
And I'm thinking, how many people from Erie are going to probably migrate up there?
Yeah, right.
Either, just, commuting back and forth. And I'm going, look what New York State, who understandably the biggest city is New York City on the east, actually made an investment outside of Buffalo.
Right.
In a town like Dunkirk. Why aren't we doing this in Pennsylvania?
Right.
And there's a question.
You still there?
Yeah. I'm thinking too, Kaz, if, the question was raised about the percentage of immigrants in Erie nowadays.
Yeah.
Has any survey been done with the immigrants to see what their skills are that they come in with?
That's a good question. I think, every once in a while I ride around town and I see a lot of them, like the gentleman, Zabibi and all that. They're out there doing what the old immigrants did, which is start restaurants, businesses, and that's your future. When you look at where would we be today if Polakis didn't come over here and start his candy business, Romulo didn't, Stefanelli didn't, look at the other things, Smith's Hot Dogs, the beer men, the old Germans that started.
All the breweries, logistics.
Yeah. Where would we be?
Erie insurance expansion.
Or the guys that started restaurants and all of a sudden, we had, 8 Barbado restaurants around town. And
Right.
But in order for them to survive, they got to have other people, people that have been working other types of jobs that are not restaurant based.
No, I agree with you, but if they brought skills here, yes, we need to, even if they start out working with the factories and they work their way up the ladder, that's what the old America was all about. You didn't want to stay there like my grandfather. He wasn't, I'm not going to say he was a Rhodes Scholar because he wasn't. He was an immigrant. But every one of his children, eventually most of them finished high school, and his grandchildren, myself included, went to college.
My grandfather
and that's what happened.
In a boiler factory down in Titusville, in the West City area, where the oil industry was, when he came over.
Nowadays, with the loss of manufacturing jobs, a bachelor's degree is kind of like a high school diploma. You have to have a master's degree or above to actually get decent paying wage to start. You have to have at least a master's degree anymore. A bachelor's degree, what I have, it's like a high school diploma anymore. It really is.
But these kids that are coming over, these immigrant kids, some of them are now, my wife used to deal with them in ESL.
Yeah.
They come up there and they go, I'm going to college now. I'm going to be a teacher.
Yeah.
What a marvelous thing. You got, they'll be able to teach the kids that come over.
Yeah.
They'll be able to converse with them and,
yeah.
It's that step ladder, John. Everybody takes another step up the ladder.
We better start stepping because we're dropping. Every year it's like.
Guys, take it easy.
Thanks for calling.
Too. Well, we better
wrap it up.
On behalf of our engineer, Mike, in the back room.
Yeah. Kaz Kwiatkowski, your city councilman.
John Steiner, my good ombudsman.
I like that.
You like that title?
I did.
We got to call you in German, der Oberbudsman.
My Uberbudsman. All right, Mike, hit the tunes, buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.